I understand. Okay, so this is on, so I'm not going to point toward any of us, just so we can have, a record of what was said. Okay,
Okay.
go ahead, read. Do what you're
Okay,
going to do.
so first I want to ask what your website is, or on YouTube, what your channel is. So I can,
Jason Garza. Didn't
Jason.
you get the little flash drive I left you?
No.
Honey, go look in your mailbox right now.
Oh, because I haven't looked at my mail
Go look
yet.
in your mailbox, please.
Yeah. I picked up my mail and I took it upstairs.
Okay, it's a
So.
little flash drive,
Okay.
and on the flash drive, it has the 828 false arrest. You can see what happened and how it happened. I mean, I want to show it to you. Could you please go get it? Because if we got a computer here, you can see what happened.
Okay, I'll look at it on my own because I first want to do an interview. Okay. We'll
Okay.
have follow-ups.
No, it's
Okay, so
fine.
828, there was an arrest that they where they arrested you, and what did they arrest you for?
You remember 632, the felony.
Oh, this
602.
is the incident. Yes.
Yes.
Uh,
And the video's there. The same day that we saw each other, I went home. I got that. I got all the supporting documentation, which means all my notes and everything that I took while I was in jail.
mhm.
Because I wasn't read my Miranda rights. One thing that's very important is that we've got to get a copy of all the jail records, because when they put me in the safety cell,
Mm.
I continually asked for a lawyer and a blanket. When I got to the jail, they asked me if I was a threat to myself or others, and I said, excuse me, but I have the constitutional right to speak to a lawyer. I'm not answering any questions till I speak to a lawyer.
Mhm.
They asked me 3 times. Then they threw me in a code cell naked because I wouldn't play their game.
I'm sorry to hear that they did that to you.
And I got the name of the officers that I asked the lawyer for. One was Tam, one was Cameron, or something like that. It's all in my notes. I wrote it all down. Another one was Park. And it wasn't until 2 in the morning, the next morning, that I spoke with an officer, Devoy, and she got me the blanket finally.
Okay, so let me go and tell you sort of what the charges are, what the maximums are. Okay, you are charged with eavesdropping or a recording of confidential investigation. Okay,
Whoa, a
So hold on.
confidential what?
confidential communication. Okay, so what
And
they're
what is what deems a confidential communication?
so what they're alleging is that you were recording advice or treatment that was given to somebody else other than yourself, right? And the reason that they're alleging that is because they say that there was a patient of the HOT team who was in the waiting room.
I would think that the video would show you quite clearly what happened that day.
Okay, so I know that that's not clear. So I'm
No,
telling
I
you.
know what's clear. What's clear is that that's a lie.
Okay, so I know that, but what I'm saying, it's clearly not what happened, but the DA made a different representation, right? That's what they're going with. The theory that they're going with is that there was somebody in the room, and therefore that's what creates the eavesdropping. They're not
Wait. Somebody in which room?
in the waiting room.
Okay, so a waiting room is not a public area?
It is a public area.
So then there's no
So-
right of expectation in a public area. 632C.
It's 632A. That you're
I know.
saying.
Read 632C, what the definition of a confidential
Okay.
thing is. Here, as a matter of fact, I have it.
I'm gonna do all of that, but I want you to know what you're charged with. Okay.
Well, a bogus charge, 'cause now let's back up here. Let's not forget that on 11/27/13, I was charged with the exact same thing at San Francisco General, and those charges were dropped. Remember I told you, and I sent you a copy of that?
Yes.
So here it is, so once again, who was I videotaping? Of course I wasn't videotaping anybody. My programmatic access is for me to videotape my own health care, which I have 900 videos on YouTube of them refusing to give me my health care, refusing to provide an ADA representative every time I ask it. Every department, so that, I can talk to the representative about how they're breaking the law. Well, I mean, it's evil.
I mean, so that's what the charge. And then the other charges are trespassing.
Okay, now let's go one step, let's step back.
Okay.
632, why did they make it a felony and not
It's not a
misdemeanor?
felony.
No.
It's a misdemeanor. You got originally the officer wanted to charge you with a felony, but the DA who does the charging document, because officers can't charge you with shit. Like they can't charge you with anything. It's the DA who decides what charges they're gonna press. So the DA decided.
So
to
he charged me falsely then, when he charged me with a 632?
He suggested.
With felony?
So he makes suggestions for what he thinks should be charged.
And those suggestions means that on Friday when I got there, I couldn't be released on my own recognizance, so I was held for 5 days because of his suggestion.
Yes.
And his suggestion is based on the fact that he's security and he's not there to protect my rights as a citizen seeking health care.
That's right.
So I'm being doubly fucked by him. So he can go home, enjoy his paycheck, and ruin the rest of my life with a false 632 felony.
Because, so the DA reviews it, and they saw that there was never any reason why to charge it as a felony. It's not a felony, right? Your conduct wasn't felonious.
Wait till you see the video. You'll see exactly how my conduct was.
Okay,
It was exemplary.
So they charged you with a misdemeanor, okay? They also charged you with a misdemeanor interfering with a public agency. What they are saying is that you interfere with the ability of the public agent to complete their duties.
Oh, what?
Okay?
Was I holding a gun to their head? Was I holding their hands? I was, so that they couldn't work? What allegation
So
is it?
what
How was I interfering? By following up on my health care and asking, what about the appointment? That was interference? Because that's all that's on the video.
Okay, so did you have an appointment that day?
No, they had canceled my appointment and I was going in to follow up on it.
When did they cancel your appointment?
It's on the videos before that, and I have the emails to that effect.
Okay, I need that.
That's fine, I can send it to you.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you my email. Let me write it down for you. So you could
This is
email
your
me
sheet,
stuff.
so it's all together in the same place.
Okay, so it's Camacho E33@gmail.
Now, even if I wasn't following up on my appointment, I mean, which is not true, but even if I wasn't, is a person not allowed to go to the public Department of Health to seek his health care? I mean,
That's what my argument's gonna be. My argument is gonna be that they permit people to come in without appointments because it's a clinic, right? So clearly that's allowed. So why?
And not only that, but if it's a clinic, why do I have to set an appointment over the email? Why can't I walk in and get the service like every other normal human being without a disability?
Okay, so before I want to follow up a little bit. You did an electronic appointment and they gave it to you.
And then they came back and canceled. The doctor told me I was going to have an appointment, and they were going to have me speak with his administrative supervisor over a new videotaping policy. I wrote him back and I said, well, I'm glad that you're doing this. I didn't ask for this.
How long had you been getting treatment there?
It just started in the 4th month.
In April?
Yeah, and the reason why is because in 2/24/26 I was illegally arrested, and after 800 videos, I guess the Department of Public Health pretty much realized, well, we better at least give him an appointment and try to see him.
Okay.
Do you understand where I'm going with that?
I do. So in April, you first started going to this clinic.
Correct, because they had continually denied me health care, and they falsely arrested me, like I said, on 224 or whatnot, and of course those charges were dropped because that was all bogus, and here we go, I have that file too. Oh, darling. Yeah, I keep everything. Here is for the bogus arrest on 224. And what was that? Interfering with an agency again?
That was for...
And that was the same officer who arrested me this time.
Okay, so they know you. This
Of
officer
course
knows you.
they know me. And they also know that I'm making videos of them breaking the law and saying, I want the San Francisco police officer out here to protect my rights. And when I call emergency for it, they say that, that the DPH buildings are the sole jurisdiction of the sheriff. So you can't get your constitutional and civic rights to medical care there because they've already gamed the system. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And when I sunshined all 4 agencies, the Department of Public Health, the sheriff, the San Francisco police, and the emergency, they all came back that no such policy existed. And yet afterwards, after this arrest and everything else, and after I got the sunshine that no such policy existed, when I called them again to send a police officer out, their supervisor told me that it was the sole jurisdiction. So they don't even correct their errors, they just move on to the next victim.
So this is
And I have all those videos and all that emails to prove what I'm saying.
Have you ever filed a formal complaint against the officers? Like at the officer?
I have the videos of where I try to go down to 25 Van Ness to file the formal complaint, and I ask that I videotape for my programmatic access, and they refuse. And once they refuse, what can I do? They won't take my complaint. They won't come out to take it in a public place because of my adjustment disorder, because I'm requesting programmatic access. It's all rigged and gamed. So if they don't take my complaint, even though I'm there to give my complaint, because of their whatever policies which are illegal and circumvent my rights, who's going to enforce it? Now, if you go to the Mayor's Office of Disability, which is supposed to enforce it, I've got those videos too, and what a failure they are. Oh, trust me, I've turned over every rock because it's evil.
I know. Okay, this is so I'm gonna read you the police report so you know.
Okay, well, no, let's talk about the last charge.
The last charge is about a nuisance charge, which is the hardest charge that.
Well, how can I be a nuisance if I have videos of receiving treatment there?
Okay, and the other thing is, nuisance has to be more than one act or one patron or one institution.
Well, what about the fact that, in my opinion, they should be charged with nuisance because, let's not forget, I've already got one bogus restraining order that they tried against me. That's one of the very first videos, 8/15/12, that the Department of Public Health came down, gave the sheriff and the police this false restraining order. That's why I want to appeal this restraining order.
So this restraining order is going to be in place, although illegal, I think.
Then I want to appeal it.
Until we go to trial. We cannot appeal it until we
Hold
go
on.
to trial.
But then I want to appeal it, and I want to show that we never were able to say, excuse me, Your Honor, where was the notice? I was never afforded due process. Never.
So in criminal court, it's a little bit different. In civil court, they have to serve you with notice so that you can respond to any restraining order, right? That's what happens in civil court. In criminal court, the notice is given to you right in front of your face. And what the judge can do is, as a term of your release, she could take you into custody and say, if you don't take this restraining order, we're going to put you in custody. Right?
At that case, would I have due process to say, well, I want to know, can we have a hearing over this restraining order so that I can show you where my 900 videos, where they're breaking the law, and where I've already got a false restraining order against the Department of Public Health because it's already done this kind of bullshit before?
No, because she's going to say, this is only a term of your release. So
what
it's
about a
not-
term of my due process?
So you do get due process. It's called your trial. And we
Okay.
have this set for no time of a jury trial.
Fine.
If we win,
What do you mean, if?
so I have to talk to you in, I can't make false promises to you because what if I make a false promise and you catch me, right? Like, for example.
No, I understand. I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but theoretically, right at this point, not only do they not have a leg to stand on,
I think we have a good case.
once you see the video and all the other 800 videos of me trying to get my health care and being denied by the game system, I want the jury to see that. I want the jury to see, if they're willing to go this far with me, what are they doing with everyone else?
And we're going to show them, okay? We're going to have a narrative. But for the public nuisance,
It's a very hard thing to prove. I understand.
it's very hard for them to prove. That's the weakest charge that they have. The easiest charge that they have to prove, and which is still very flimsy, it's the eavesdropping or the 632. And the reason is because all they have to show is that you had a recording device and you had no permission to record.
No.
There's
that's-
other elements, right?
The
But
other
that's what-
elements are my programmatic access as a disabled person, which the Department of Health.
That's an affirmative defense.
I've consistently told them about, and even their ADA expert has argued with me.
So we're going to have an affirmative defense, all right?
Right.
So that's going to be our affirmative defense. The other defense is going to be is that you need to have interfered with somebody's rights
Mhm.
while doing your recording, and you didn't because
Of
you were
course.
recording it in a public place. But I'm telling you, sort of on the spectrum of
Of
worst
anything that's
case-
possible. Of course, I understand. Worst
So-
case scenario.
Worst case scenario, those are it, okay?
Okay.
So here's the police report and what they're alleging, okay?
Okay.
So they said that on Friday, August 28th, I was on duty, uniform.
And who is I?
The police officer.
Which one?
This one is, let me see who wrote this. It's,
Mendoza is the one that arrested me. And on the charge ticket, it's Valdez or somebody else, which is something I was going to bring up. Why is it the officer who arrested me isn't on the citation? Because it's Mendoza who arrested me on 224 and who rearrested me now. And on the citation is Virgul as the arresting officer. And he wasn't even there, and the video will show that.
okay, so the watch commander was report reviewed by Coons, that's the sergeant.
Yeah, and he wasn't there.
Yeah. Let me see. Deputy Mendoza is the one that wrote this.
That's right. He's the one that arrested me.
So
Even
that-
though it's not on the charge ticket.
So it's Deputy Mendoza, the one that wrote the police report.
The same one that wrote it on 224 for the 602 that I showed you got dropped.
Yeah.
So there we go. Same officer.
So on Friday, August 28, 2015, I was on duty in uniform assigned to patrol of IB-50 for the San Francisco Sheriff's Department Patrol Unit at the Tom Waddell Urban Health Center. At approximately 9:30, Garza Jason entered the Tom Waddell Health Center and walked towards the homeless outreach team, the HOT team. Garza was video recording when he entered the health center. I followed Garza to the HOT team office where he continued to video record. I saw a patient present in the office where Garza was recording. Natalie Maddox introduced Garza to. Natalie instructed Garza not to video record. Maddox attempted to inform Garza of the Department of Public Health policy procedure regarding video recording. Garza became agitated with Maddox's response, and then Garza became verbally confrontational. Maddox was unable to answer the telephone calls or continue with her daily duties without Garza's continuous harassment.
Wonderful. The video doesn't show that at all. Beautiful. So, if the video doesn't show that, is this false testimony?
We have to impeach the officer.
Is it false testimony?
No, because he hasn't testified.
But when he does testify,
yes,
then it'll be false testimony.
Yes.
And then what consequence?
Okay, so we're working in a limited world, okay? I am your criminal defense attorney. If he testifies to this and the video doesn't show that, then I get to impeach him. And that shows him to be a liar. And then that will lead the jury to acquit and not believe what all the other things that he's saying, right? Because my ultimate goal in your trial is for you to get acquitted of all charges.
No. Our ultimate goal in my trial is not only to get acquitted, but for there to be a decision that, hey, once he leaves here, he can go get his medical care, and they can't pull this bullshit on him again, because you know what? They're just going to do it again, and they're just going to say, well, he's just doing it again. Because if they did it on 224 and did it again, they're going to do it again. The Department of Public Health has got to be ordered to obey my rights, period. Because
I can ask for that, but I don't know that the judge will do that. Okay?
Well, but we ask, we make a video of what's happening so people will realize that it's not me who's not turning over every stone. Once again, it's that the system is fucked up. Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. Don't worry about it.
Well, it's the truth.
Okay.
Why lie when the truth is bad enough? All right, so I was preventing her from doing her duties.
Because you were being aggressive and continuous harassment, which they don't explain what it is. I approached Garza and handed him a copy of the Department of Public Health and Policy Procedure.
Now, when was that policy made?
I don't know. It doesn't say.
A24. Brand new policy.
So you didn't know about it?
Well, I gave it to you, remember? I gave you a copy of it. Brand new fucking policy. You know, and it's not legal. That's what I was questioning. I was challenging him on it, remember?
Yeah.
And that's when he instantly arrested me, was because, you know, I called him on his bull fucking shit. Here it is. What's the date on it?
8/24. Okay, that's also.
And remember, they canceled my appointment because, you know, when I wrote back to the doctor and he said about the administrative supervisor who was going to hand me this policy, I said, I have no problem about seeing her. I want my ADA representative there so I can talk to him. And then they claimed they canceled my appointment, and I was following up on the cancellation of my appointment.
Okay.
Does that make sense to you?
It does.
And I have the paperwork and the videos to prove it.
Okay. On Friday, Maddox did not consent to Garza recording as she spoke with HOT team clients. Maddox advised me
She
that
spoke with other, is that what he's saying?
Yeah, he's saying that, but she clearly contradicts him in the police report.
Well, of course, because there was no one else there. It was me, him, and her. There
Garza
no
was
clients.
verbally confrontational after he read the policy and procedure. Garza refused to acknowledge the DPH's policies and procedure. I asked Garza not to record and advised him to leave the premises. Garza continued to be verbally confrontational. Garza was boisterous and interfered with the HOT team staff and the staff at Tom Waddell Health Center. I handcuffed Garza, checked the handcuffs for tightness, and double-locked the handcuffs. I arrested Garza for willfully refusing to leave the premises, continuing to cause disturbance, and continuing to video record without the consent of the staff.
Wait, whoa.
Yes.
He double-clicked it, right? Is what he says.
No, I arrested.
And he double-clicked the handcuffs. And then he did something else because I was continuing to videotape after he had put the handcuffs on me.
No, I said I handcuffed Garza, checked the handcuff for tightness, and I double-locked the handcuffs.
Right.
I arrested Garza. He's explaining why he arrested you. Okay. I arrested Garza for willfully refusing to leave the premises. Okay, continuing to cause a disturbance and continuing to video record with the consent of the staff. This is prior to him handcuffing. Garza was charged with felony invasion of privacy and confidential communications. Garza was also charged with misdemeanor trespass and interference with the public agency and trespassing. At approximately 10 a.m., Deputy Duong telephoned the Central Warning Bureau and spoke with Rosanna. Garza had no outstanding warrants. At approximately 10:40, Maddox wrote a citizen's statement, which was later booked into evidence. At approximately 10:20, Sergeant Kunz transported Garza to the county jail for final booking. This is a statement of Maddox, okay, who's the woman. Jason Garza walked into the SF Hot office recording. I informed him he was not allowed to film in here. There was a client present in the waiting room. I tried to inform Mr. Garza of the policy and where it was posted so he could read it.
Okay, now let's back up here.
Mm-hmm.
There was a client in the waiting room.
That's what they're saying.
Right, so now, where was the client?
In the waiting room.
And is it illegal to videotape in a public waiting room?
No.
So why is she poisoning the well?
They're saying it's because you violated their policy.
The policy, which is illegal. It's not illegal for me to videotape my own health care.
Yeah.
So it's an illegal policy. So how can I be violating an illegal policy?
Okay, so we're gonna make that argument, but I'm telling you what the allegations are.
I
Okay.
understand. I just want you to understand that I know the bullshit.
I know the bullshit too, but we need to talk about every bad fact
Right.
so that nothing.
Every bad
ambushes.
lie. That's not a fact.
Yeah. So every single thing that they are alleging, so
Correct.
that you know it. Mr. Garza appeared very agitated and unwilling to comply. This continued out of the SF head office and into the hallway. Okay, this is the chronological. Then at 8:31:15 at about 2 o'clock, this is Officer Kutches who's doing this. This is the inside investigator. Okay.
This is what's the date?
So he's starting his duties on 8:31.
So that's 3 days after I've been in jail.
Yes. 8:31, they received an incident report written by Deputy Mendoza and approved by Sergeant Kunz. I was assigned on this case as a senior deputy. On 8:28 at approximately 9:30, Deputy Mendoza was assigned to foot patrol on the San Francisco Sheriff's Department. Sheriff's Patrol Unit at the Tom Walter Urban Health Center. At this time, Garza entered the health center and walked towards the homeless outreach team. Hot. Garza was video recording when he entered the building. Deputy Mendoza was patient inside the office. An employee named Natalie Maddox instructed Garza not to do any video recording and informed him of the department public policy. Garza became agitated. Maddox responds and became verbally confrontational. At this moment, Maddox was unable to perform her job or duties to Garza. Further investigation by Deputy Mendoza. Maddox did not consent to Garza recording as she spoke with client. Maddox advised Deputy Mendoza that Garza did not have an appointment or official business there. Deputy Mendoza asked Garza to stop recording and to leave the premises. Garza continued to be verbally confrontational and refused to acknowledge the DPH policy. Garza continued to interfere with the hot team. I received and reviewed witness statements by Natalie Maddox. And that's it. That's the extent of his investigation, okay? He is done. So this is what they have. They don't have much, okay? They don't have a lot. But
All they have is lies.
But I need you to be patient, okay? After you're patient, the other thing I want you to know is that I'm going to write a demur and a pitches.
I don't want a demur. I don't want the charges dropped so that they can do it all over again because nothing's been
I'm
adjudicated,
going to
nothing's
demur.
been shown.
They're not going to grant it.
No, I don't want a demur because if they grant it and they drop the charges, and the next time I go down there, they'll just do it all over again. I want to go to trial.
Okay, we're going to go to trial, but my duty, again, is to litigate this case to the best of my abilities.
And the best of your abilities should include my due process. And
You
if they
absolutely
and
do.
if they have they drop it because of the demur, then I won't have any due process. I'll be back to square one, where they can arrest me again and turn to the judge and say he's been arrested 5 times, but they won't tell the whole truth, that all the arrests were bogus.
They get dismissed. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I don't want that to happen again. No, I don't want to put myself in harm's way. I want to go to trial to prove that they are breaking the law themselves.
Okay.
Thank
So
you.
we're gonna go to trial. Okay.
Thank
the
you.
other, I'm gonna file pre-trial motions though, because that's my duty. Okay. The other motion that I plan on filing is the pitches, to get any information to see if anybody has ever made reports about officers fabricating evidence or dishonesty or violence.
The Brady Act.
Yes, so I'm gonna do that, okay? And then we have trial for the 18th. It's negotiation for the 18th. You have to be present at that.
Well, what does that negotiation for the 18th mean? I don't understand that.
So that means that we can negotiate, right? I could say, but my only negotiation will be like give them a dismissal and a factual finding of innocence.
No.
And then if they say that, they're not gonna grant it, but that's the bottom line.
No, because if they do that, then they're not going to admit that they did something wrong, and the next time I go, they're going to just do it all over again. No.
They're not gonna give you that. I know this fucking DA. He has his panties all in a bunch, wanting to take you to trial. We're gonna go to trial in this case. But I want to put on the record that we at least made a counteroffer, okay?
No, I want the counteroffer to be that they admit that they broke the law,
Okay.
and that they screwed me, and that they have a pattern of this because I have the videos to show it. And I also have the signed confession from where they've done this kind of crap before. So, no. You want to negotiate with me, motherfuckers? This is thermonuclear warfare. You could have ruined my life. The people are lying. The video's going to show it. And you know what? Not only am I not backing down, I'm going for blood.
Okay. All right.
No, it's not all right. I have been arrested 4 different times, played this song and dance, seeking my health care. What's a sick person supposed to fucking do? Beg for their health care when it's already prepaid? Not me.
Exactly. That's why I like you, because you fight, okay? At trial, we have a duty. We have to get that fucking jury to like you.
But trust me, I will behave appropriately because, what's going on between us is attorney-client information.
So that's the biggest thing. We have to get them to like you, and we have to get them to realize that you're not a loose cannon, that you're just frustrated at the treatment that you've been getting because you can't get any health treatment, and you're sick.
Correct. And I've been following up for years. I have the paperwork for years.
So
and by them putting the sheriff in as security, they're bypassing my legal rights to health care because if I call emergency and say they're breaking the law, send the police officer out, emergency will say that's the sole jurisdiction of the sheriff. We're not sending anybody out. So nobody enforces medical law.
So, okay, what is going to happen at trial or before? On the 18th, we have our first day in court.
Okay, now, can we write this somewhere so I have a record of it? Or are you going to write me ahead of time and let me know? Because
I'll call you.
The only thing I remember was the 10-2 or 10-3 date that I'd gotten from you. I don't remember anything about 9/18. Let's see where my paperwork is. Because there was something about 10-3.
So, see, there's
10-2. See, that was the only thing I had.
They only gave you for 10-2, and I have a 9/18.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Once again, being fucked by a bad system. Story
Okay.
of my life.
I'm going to call you and confirm that, okay? I have your
Okay,
phone
well, can you
number.
write it here, though?
So let me
9/18?
make sure that that's right, because usually the secretary does a perfect job, so I don't understand why